Yes, what's going on, people? What's going on? I think we are live now. So I'll just wait for a couple of people to jump on. Or actually, I think he's in the waiting room. So I'll get him on and then we'll get this broadcast started. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in, whether you tune in a bit later or whether you watch on YouTube later on. Thank you is much appreciated. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this live, man. I've known Josh for a couple of years now. Very good friend of mine, and very humble person as well. Fantastic boxer, and he's a professional 2-0 now, and he's doing big things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he progresses with his career. And you know what? Since I started my boxing channel, Josh has always been supportive. He's always jumped on. He's always, offered advice and everything else. And it's been really good to work with him. So I'm really looking forward to our chat today. And I'm going to get him on because he's in the waiting room. So let me go and get him.
The champ
Josh,
is here.
what's happening, man?
Yes, Darren, you're right. Yeah,
How you doing?
yeah, man. Good. Obviously, I've been back in training actually for quite a while now. Took a little bit off during COVID, like just naturally, whereas the gyms were shut down. But as soon as sort of the government gave the guidelines that like you could go back to training in the gym,
Yeah.
been back training. So just a bit tired now, just a bit rested. It's been a long week. Done 6 days this week. But yeah, just taking a little bit of a refresh today. Got the bike in the exercise bike in the corner. So when the Chelsea game's on later, gonna be
Yeah,
cycling.
I was hoping we wouldn't talk about that. We wouldn't
Ah,
talk about football or anything like that, bro. It's a boxing broadcast, not a football one.
yeah. But we just got to give a quick little mention to David Luiz, like phenomenal player.
Oh man.
Um, uh,
Oh,
Another extension for the Gunners. Just yeah, what a signing.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you know how I feel about that already, man. Yeah, not good at all.
Just a quick note: how gutted was I when David Luiz left Chelsea? I messaged you straight away. I was
Yeah.
gutted. That was like it's like a masterstroke.
Yeah, a lot of Chelsea fans, you know what, they were actually like they were happy about it. Like Shanice was one of them. She was saying that she like we're gonna regret signing him, and I was like, nah, I think he might be all right. Like he's good, but yeah, I mean he hasn't been too. I mean, obviously against City it was terrible,
Yeah,
but
that was terrible.
like he hasn't been as that bad. But I think that performance highlighted a lot
Yeah,
that we
and
don't need him for another season.
it was the first game out of COVID. All eyes were on
No, so
football,
embarrassing.
and
Yeah.
flip, no. But anyway, yeah, enough about football because we
Yeah,
can
enough
go on
about
from there.
football. Let's talk boxing, man. I mean, let's just start. I mean, like we're doing a Q&A today. I put out on my socials that you were coming on, and I just basically said if anyone has any questions for Josh, feel free to ask. And those that are on this live stream right now can ask questions, and I'll happily put them up for you to answer as well. But I've got some written down here from a lot of the people that ask questions, so we'll go through those. But before we get into the questions, I just wanted to quickly get your reaction to the news last night over Jarrell Miller because that was such a like I couldn't believe it. And for those that don't know, I'm sure you know already, but he tested positive again. His fight that is on July the 9th has been called off. So I'm not sure what happens now, but it's looking like he's going to face a lengthy ban. But what was your reaction when you heard that news about Jarrell Miller? Because one of the first questions, well, let's just go to the first question anyway, is from a guy called Shane who follows me on Instagram. And his question to you is what is the proper way of handling Jarrell Miller? So I'm guessing, like in terms of punishment, what would be an adequate punishment for him? But we'll ask that, and we'll ask your reaction first to the news.
Yeah, like, thank you for the question, Shane. Like my reaction was, I actually saw it on the page, the Boxing Lowdown page. So big up the page, like hitting that news first.
Yeah,
Um, but I was actually shocked. I thought it was a bit of a joke. Like I thought, nah, there's no way. Like, yeah, there's no way he's done it again. He's not that stupid. Like, no one's that stupid. So it's like if you get caught for drugs, the thing all eyes are going to be on you. So you stay away from it. Like you absolutely don't go near it. So now he's been caught again. It's just, I think it's just a bit of a mockery to the sport. And when So that was my reaction. And then, like, what should happen to him? I don't think I'm not going to sit on the fence here. I just think he should just get banned for life now. I mean, like, people make mistakes, and that's not to vindicate his first mistake, because he knew what he was doing. And even then, I think he might have even been tested even before that and might have failed a drugs test. I'm not too sure on that, but I know that there was some like controversy around Jarrell Miller even prior to the AJ. And to be honest, like, if he was taking it up until the AJ fight, he was definitely taking it in fights previously, and so he hasn't learned his lesson on the biggest stage, and now he's just he's taking a piss, really. So I mean, like, being a boxer myself, I mean, if I came across the ring and there was someone that's really trying to get an upper hand on me with an unfair advantage, one, is my livelihood at risk. Two, it's my livelihood and health, and two, like, there's a lot of financial implications at stake. We saw what happened with David Price fighting Tony Thompson. He was on a trajectory in which his next fight was likely to be against Tyson Fury. If he beat Tony Thompson, Fury had to beat Steve Cunningham, and then they would have had a big domestic bust up, which would have been a lucrative payday. He got knocked out by Tony Thompson, who ultimately failed a drugs test. I mean, if that happened to me, like I'd be gutted. So in my view, like, you fail once, you shouldn't get given a bye, but you get given half a bye. A lengthy ban. Say, if you've learned from your lesson, like, let's go again. If you get banned, if you get caught twice, then you got to be out of the sport. Like, no questions.
And one of the substances that he got done with was it was the same one he got done with for AJ as well. Didn't know that, but it's the same substance that he got banned with against the AJ fight. So I don't know if he thought he could get away with it again, or I really don't know.
I think, I mean, I didn't even know that, and it's just like, maybe he was thinking, okay, well, surely they're not going to test me again, and they're not going to try and test me for the same substance. So, I might get away with it because all eyes are on me, and he's almost trying to double bluff it because all eyes are on me. They're not going to try to test me again for the same thing. Who knows? But it's just, it's ridiculous, really. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's a good question. Good question.
Yeah,
big up Shane for the question.
Yeah, respect to Shane. I got one here from an anonymous user, and his question to you is, what got you into boxing in the first place?
Good question. Yeah, very good question.
Some tough questions here today.
yeah. I mean, ultimately, I've always been a competitor. I mean, everything I've done, I always want to be the best at it, and I just been a maniacal competitor growing up, whether it be football, board games. I was the sorest loser. So, I mean, my mum used to take me to like Disneyland. Well, she took me to Disneyland Paris, and she took me to Florida as well. And it was just me and mum growing up. So I was very fortunate. But the point of this was, she used to take me to all these theme parks, and where you had like laser gun games. And even when she used to beat me, I used to like cry and scream and kick up a fuss. And that's how competitive I was. I didn't want to lose to anybody, and I still am to this day. So even in the gym, like I've got a £50 bet with one of my closest friends in boxing, that I beat him in our next weigh-in. He's a weight division below me, Ryan Amos. Big up Ryan. The Punisher.
Big up Ryan.
Get him on the channel soon as well. And so, like, I have bets on a daily with them, like with my teammates, to beat them at something. And I think that's what driven me into boxing, because growing up, it was always football for me. I always played football, but I always had an eye on boxing. So every Mayweather fight, when Mayweather fought Hatton, had all of my mates around mine, and we stayed up till like 4 o'clock in the morning watching a boxing. First ever fight I watched was Bernard Hopkins v Jermaine Taylor, and I mean, if you've ever watched their fights together, not most entertaining fights.
I was going to say, it's not a go-to on people's catalogs for fights to watch.
That's how I knew I loved boxing, because I just was watching it, just in awe of these two guys. And Jermaine Taylor was probably my first sort of boxing idol, because he beat Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins was ultimately the bad guy of boxing at that time. Like everybody hated him, and Jermaine Taylor was like the golden boy coming through, become the undisputed middleweight champion. And then it was just like, oh, I sort of got the bug and done a few boxing classes there, and then ultimately my mum said you'll never be able to box under my roof.
Yeah.
And then when I was 19 and at university, just picked up the opportunity, went down to the university boxing club, had a bit of fun there. Realized that not all it's almost entry level into boxing, because most of the university athletes or university boxing society people just want to go there, have a fun and be part of the society. But I wanted to take it more serious and then join Phoenix Boxing Club, which I know you know very well.
Yeah, I used to train there myself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, end up joining there, and then that fueled the fire, and then here we are today. But I actually have to give special credit to sort of Errol McDonald, who's my coach, because I sort of took a 3-year hiatus from boxing. I never had a fight, so started when I was 19, done 6 months of training, got the juices for it. Thought I could be okay, but was always told I was too small, and I was about 90 kilos at the time, so I was heavy. So I would have been like a heavyweight or super heavyweight, and then came back to Nottingham about 3 years later, and then Errol said to me, well, you got to get your weight down, yeah, but I can teach you how to outbox these guys, and like sort of gave me the confidence to move on. But ultimately, I got into boxing just because I like competing. And so yeah, it's a very good question whoever asked that. And who's talking about Jermaine Taylor, Carl Froch?
Well, yeah, comment from Facebook just saying how good that fight was. I mean, what an ending, first of all, to that fight. And it's kind of following on from that. It's a bit of a shame what happened to Jermaine Taylor, isn't it? Because he suffered from a bit of mental health problems, didn't he? And I don't know where he's at now, but I know that his career kind of went down pretty much after that Froch fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, so I followed Jermaine Taylor up until sort of the Kelly Pavlik era, and then Kelly Pavlik came to sort of dominance, and then at that time when Kelly Pavlik beat Jermaine Taylor, I believe Jermaine Taylor had a short break and then went up to super middleweight, and then really followed his super middleweight career.
Had a few losses there, yeah, he did when he went to super middleweight.
Lost to Arthur Abraham, lost to Carl Froch. In all honesty, I've never actually watched the full Jermaine Taylor Carl Froch fight. I've only watched the ending. But like the commentators make it quite clear that Jermaine Taylor is up and Carl Froch needs to knock him out, and knocks him out in the last 10 seconds. Which fair play to him. I mean, you know, I'm not the biggest Carl Froch fan.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That must have hurt you to say that.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Carl Froch fan at all, especially because I'm a Groves boy. So, yeah, it was a great ending, undoubtedly. But Jermaine Taylor, when you go back to how dominant Bernard Hopkins was, Jermaine Taylor can't be forgotten about how good he was at middleweight. Like fastest hands, didn't have a massive chin, like a massively strong chin, but at middleweight was phenomenal. And then it seems like he went sort of a bit downhill. I know we got like arrested and stuff like that, which is a shame. But yeah, that's not to take away from his boxing achievements.
Yeah, for sure. We've got another question here from Blaine. I know you know Blaine pretty well, so big up to Blaine.
Big up
I used to train with Blaine as well, so yeah, big up to Blaine. He's asked you.
Was in his day.
Yeah, very good. Sparred with Blaine many times, man. Very, very good.
Yeah, spot on.
But what he's asking you is, how frustrated have you? I know you touched on this a bit earlier, but he's asking, how frustrated have you been with the current situation and being forced to pause your career? Have you managed to do any training? I know you said you have, but how frustrating has it been for you?
I mean, it's been quite, in terms of boxing specifically, and it's been a bit of a difficult 2020. At the start of the year, right at the end of last year, my grandfather passed away, which meant I stayed in St Vincent with my mother and family for an extended period in January, which meant I was training out there, but wasn't like as specific boxing training. So then I came back, had a week back in England, then tore my calf in preparation for a fight on March 8th. So, and my calf only really sort of healed up enough about 8 weeks ago for me to do some full training. Just been going for a rehab period. So pretty much the whole half of this year, apart from the last sort of month to 6 weeks, I haven't really been fully training. So when COVID hit, it was just like, another spanner in the works. And I think ultimately, with what's going on in the world, you just got to look at sort of the brighter picture and say, okay, well, count what blessings that you do have. And so, I mean, there's people losing their jobs out there. There's people like they have career uncertainty, financial uncertainty. So I sort of took a sort of step back and sort of got out my own feelings and was like, okay, yeah, it's been difficult, but where can I count my blessings? Where can I be positive? And look to sort of channel my energy there, because quite often what you can do is you can dwell on your sorrows and say, everything's against me, and it comes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you constantly get yourself down. But yeah, it's been frustrating, but ultimately, I've always tried to look at sort of the brighter side and said, specifically these last sort of 6 weeks, boxing related, I've said, okay, get myself in the best possible shape. So if any opportunity comes, I'm ready. And that's the only attitude that I can have, because if you have any other attitude, whether we're talking boxing or in life, if you have the opposite attitude where the glass half full, you're ultimately going to fuel disappointment.
Yeah, and I mean, we spoke about this off camera before. Like, for those that not necessarily signed with a huge promoter or anything in the UK, so Eddie Hearn or Frank, how does it affect like people on the small hall shows? You know, with boxing not being, not happening for, I know it's starting to come back now, but in terms of having crowds at boxing and everything else, this affects the small hall shows, doesn't it? So how does it affect, people like you that are not signed with a major promoter yet, that need to get out there and fight? I mean, how does it make you feel?
Change your strategy, change your whole different strategy, because my aim this year was to have 4 fights, and they was all going to be on small hall shows, 2 in Luton, 2 in Nottingham. Now it's like, okay, might have to open up my mouth a bit, might have to be a bit more forthcoming with the fights that I want. But being 2-0, or having 2 fights and not had a 6 rounder yet, that closes up some opportunity. So it's like, okay, well, what can I do? And ultimately, what I'm going to do is spar as many people as I can. I know Ted Cheeseman and Sam Egerton are fighting. I've sparred Sam Egerton before. See if I can get down some sparring, and then message Eddie Hearn and say, look, if any of these get injured, like, I'll pop in.
I'm available.
Yeah, I'm available, and ultimately just be ready. So that's all you can do. You can get disheartened by it and say, okay, well, small hall shows are down, so my career's over, and hang it up and give up. Or you can just be ready, and whatever opportunity presents itself, you've got to be willing and wanting to take it with both hands. And what we're going to find out is Tony Bellew speaks about it a lot, and it actually really resonated with myself. It made me think, how badly do I want boxing? Because he said, what we're going to find out in this period is those who want to say they are boxers, and those who are actually boxers, and those who actually want to fight.
Yeah.
And it's so true, because I mean, I could rest on my laurels here and wait till small hall shows are small hall show come available again, and cherry pick my way up the rankings, or I could be ready and take a fight. And ultimately, if that opportunity arises, I will take it, and then people will see that I am serious about it, because I had to have those conversations internally first before I project it outwards. And I said, okay, how bad do I want it? Do I really believe I could beat anyone in the top 10? And then I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, yeah. And so if I believe that, then my actions have to vindicate that and replicate that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, yeah. We've got a question here from, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Sakani. And what he's asked is, who are the best, most talented boxers that you've trained with?
He's asking that because he's one of the ones I've trained with.
Okay.
Sakani's one of my best friends in boxing as well.
Did I pronounce his name right?
Yeah, Sakani.
Okay.
Sakani, and his actual brother was his brother Ricardo was one of the most sort of talented boxers in Nottingham at one point. Now he's teaching over in America. He's lecturing. He had a professional career I'm not sure quite what his record was, but he trained over in the Ingle gym. But very good boxer, and yeah, Sakani's definitely one of the most talented boxers I've trained with.
Yeah.
He's about 22, 23 years old. And I'm not just saying this because he asked the question, but he's a national semi-finalist, southpaw, slick, smooth, real smooth. Who else have I trained with? That, yeah, I mean, Ryan, he's just an animal, comes forward all the time. We've got there's a few younger guys at the gym as well. A good friend of mine, Jordan Esfahan, like he trains relentlessly. But I want to give a shout out to the two youngsters that one, a guy called Jack Smith, who's about, I think he's 16 years old, but he punches like a train. And Conor Thackeray, really talented. So I mean, train with some talented guys, like not all well recognised, but in terms of our gym, like I train with them day in day out and see what they can do and see what they're capable of. Yeah, just some real strong up and coming fighters that I'm sure we'll hear about. I think mentally it's I think what you see in boxing and what I've seen over the years in the gym, specifically at Bad Boys, is there's been a whole array of talent come through that gym, and I had nowhere near have been anywhere near as talented as some of the guys that have come into the gym. But it's just about persistence, continuing to just beat off at your craft, and just having that sort of mental belief, and you have to have sort of that relentless competitiveness, because every time someone comes in the gym and they're good, you have to get better than them. You have to have to have this obsession with just being better, and like being better with someone at, I don't know, press ups, be someone better at being on a speed ball, like throwing combinations, and that's what ultimately like drives the success of the gym. So I think talent is one thing, but getting the best out of your talent is different. I think I've trained with a lot of talented guys, but I think some of the best fighters that I've trained with would be the ones that I've mentioned, because of their longevity in training, and we'll see them go to the top.
Yeah, I have to definitely follow those guys, man. For sure. Have to follow their journeys as well and give them the support that they deserve. We've got another comment here, and it's about the small hall shows that we were talking about earlier. And this comment from Facebook, it says, there will be a time when only the smallest of small hall shows will be back, maybe about 500 people allowed. So it's a great window for fighters like Josh, as demand will be high for tickets.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope that's true. Well, I'm thinking, I'm just reading it now. Yeah, I mean that's true, and I think there's also got to be an element of reality with fighters that fight on them shows. I'm one of those boxers that I'm sure the promoters, if they were outspoken, like Paul Webb at High Rise Promotion and Matty, and they know sort of how demanding I am. I'm like, I want more tickets because I know I've got a decent fan base, and I want everybody to see it. But I think ultimately, even like people like myself, if I want to sort of elevate my career, it's like, okay, well, if only 500 people are allowed, that means that, okay, I might only have to take 100 tickets, even though I want 150, 200 plus, fight on the show, prove my worth, and then keep on fighting to just build up the resume, and get the fights that I want. So yeah, I mean, touch wood, small hall shows are back ASAP, because they'll open up a huge opportunity for the likes of myself.
That was JP. So big up JP every time. Big up Boxing Luton, man.
He was planting that seed for Paul.
Been such a massive part of it, yeah. And we have to give him his respect and credit that he deserves, man. Definitely.
Yeah, we love you, JP.
Yes, big up JP, man. Thank you for jumping on as well. Let's move from the small hall shows, because we've got another question here, and we're going to talk about the biggest fight that's happened so far this year. Obviously, that was Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. And a question here for you is, has the stigma around Deontay Wilder gone? So following that loss, do you think the stigma surrounding him has gone, or do you think is it still there?
We have to trace that back to history. I mean, ultimately, we'll never know. Well, we won't know until he fights again. But when we go through history and we see the likes of when Kovalev fought Ward, what happened afterwards. Kovalev, the crusher, ultimately dismantling everyone in front of him. I mean, he even killed somebody in the ring because he was that devastated. Only once Ward humbled him in the ring and outside, he lost this. He lost his aura, his crusher element, his crusher aura about him, and ultimately went on to lose to. I can't remember his name. Edison Alvarez.
Oh yeah, Alvarez. Yeah,
He
Alvarez.
lost to Canelo Alvarez, but also the guy at light heavyweight. That was
Almeida Alvarez.
That's it. And then almost lost to Yard as well. And like Yard, all due respect to Yard, in Crusher's heyday, like Yard wouldn't have stood a chance. Like at their current points in their career, like Yard, like is very much at the early stages of his career, and like could go on to like achieve massive heights. But when the Crusher was the Crusher, like Tunde would have said, no, we've got to build him up more. But they knew that he was coming to the end because ultimately he's been beaten down and worn down and he's lost that aura, and they had the confidence to go and fight him and almost pulled up a phenomenal upset. Don't get me wrong, like Kovalev is still a really good fighter, and he can box. Deontay Wilder can't. And we even go back to before that. I mean, we look at likes of like Jeff Lacey. Like Jeff Lacey was known as a massive puncher until Calzaghe beat him. He lost his aura. Ultimately went downhill. And then we look at even like Foreman. Foreman, after he lost to Muhammad Ali, he had a 10-year hiatus, came back, but he lost his aura about him, and then went on to achieve become like the oldest heavyweight champion in history, which is a phenomenal accolade. But he wasn't known as the killer Foreman. He was known as George Foreman with the grills.
Yeah.
So ultimately, when we circle back to the question, has Deontay Wilder lost some of his shine, some of his sort of like demolition or demoralizing sort of like demeanor where he could just go in there and crush everybody? Probably, yeah. But only time will tell.
So you put some great examples there, and like with boxing, as we all know, there's an old saying, and it's you're only as good as your last fight. So with Deontay Wilder, that stigma around him, before he went into that Fury fight, everyone was worried, if he touches Fury, he can knock him out. But the way how Fury beat him, I think the stigma's gone a little bit from him. But like you said, I mean, it's happened to a lot of guys that were feared in history. Like you said, Jeff Lacey was one of them. Kovalev, another one. So I think it'll be interesting to see where Deontay Wilder goes, because like you say, he's not the greatest boxer in the world. So Fury has shown that he can be beaten and he can take the right. He can get back up. So it's going to be interesting to see actually that third fight, how he does come back from it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't think he's got any chance against Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury took his soul, and the disadvantage of Deontay Wilder is because he can't box. He had this aura about him, and he had this internal belief. That belief has been absolutely zapped out of him from 2 fights from Fury, because he knew in the first fight he didn't win, and in the second fight he absolutely got shown that he's just not on the level, and he can't get himself in position to hit Fury. He got lucky. Well, I say lucky because he still threw the punch, but he managed to land those punches in the first fight. But that's only because Tyson Fury was coming off like a 2-year, 20-stone, whatever, like layoff. As soon as Tyson Fury's like feet are like started training his legs and can move his feet and move his head and slip the punches more, like he didn't really land on Tyson Fury in the second fight. So ultimately, I don't think Deontay Wilder has a chance against Fury. Could he land that punch on someone a bit more flat-footed, less longer? Maybe somebody. Him v Dillian Whyte would just be fun to watch, because I think Dillian Whyte would just go in there and try to ragdoll him about. But Dillian Whyte's not got as fast as feet and as head movement as Tyson Fury. I think AJ schools Deontay Wilder now. I didn't think that in the past. We've spoken about it previously.
We have,
years ago. I thought Deontay Wilder would knock him out. But actually, from seeing AJ reinvent himself in this second Andy Ruiz fight and go back to the in and out style, I don't think Deontay Wilder lands. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But I think ultimately, unless if he's able to dig deep and get that sort of self-confidence and inner belief and that bomb squad mentality, because how can he can't be shouting bomb squad now? Like
he's going to shout that until he retires, man.
Yeah, like but you can shout it, but like he believed it. Like he believed he was unbeatable. Once you take that away from somebody, like it's difficult. It's difficult, and I mean, like we're gonna see what he's made of, because like defeats build characters, and we saw that in AJ's character. That defeat helped him bounce back. We're gonna find out about Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, great answer, bro. Great answer. Let's stay with Tyson Fury. Got a question from Anonymous here, and there was a fantasy fight because I put it out yesterday, and Frank Warren did an interview with the Daily Mail, and he said that he believed that Tyson Fury would defeat Lennox Lewis. So the question here for you is Tyson Fury or Lennox Lewis?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Do you think Fury would beat Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, like it's difficult to tell when you're combining errors, but if you like, I don't ever like to sit on the fence on these questions. Right? It's just give an answer how I'm feeling specifically at that time, and at this time, Tyson Fury is at the pinnacle of heavyweight boxing. He is the best heavyweight on the planet. Yeah. In terms of if you're comparing their careers, there's no doubt Lennox Lewis is at this particular moment in time. Lennox Lewis has far achieved Tyson Fury. Like he was undisputed. I think at that time there was only 3 belts, not the 4. But I'm just trying to compare stylistically what would the fight have been like.
Yeah,
and I think style-wise, Tyson Fury poses a threat for anybody that is flat-footed. And Lennox Lewis wasn't like ultimately flat-footed, but he planted his feet, he would stick out that jab, and he throws a very good long-range jab.
Yep.
I don't know how he would be able to sort of close that distance. And it was, and when we're talking distance, there's only a matter of inches between him and Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury is the master of range. And I think the best way to epitomize it is the in and out motion of the final few punches of when he stopped Wilder. It was a jab, bounce back, jab, right hand, like that. It was effortless. It was so good. Like I even started practicing it at the gym, and I'm like middleweight, and I think Lennox Lewis might have found it hard. But there's one thing that you have to say about Lennox Lewis is when he was was up against it and there was adversity, he found a way. But if you were to ask me now, do I think stylistically, like who would win? I think Tyson Fury might win.
Yeah, and like you said, styles make fights at the end of the day. And I've just seen a comment saying the stream's gone, but I think we're back on now, so that's good. So I think we lost our Facebook users there for a minute, but it's good to see that we're back on. What Tyson Fury and Lewis? I agree with your point about Lewis having more, definitely achieved more currently, because Tyson Fury hasn't retired yet, so we can't hold that against him. I don't know. I think Lewis, it's very difficult because Tyson Fury's style, like you said, I mean, he's the master at range, he's the master at distance, and I think it would have been very awkward for Lewis. But I think with Lewis, the reason why I'm siding with him is just the sort of like the styles and the guys he's beaten already. Like he's beaten Evander Holyfield, he's beaten Hall of Famers, like he's beaten Mike Tyson, he's beaten David Tua, he's beaten tall guys, he's beaten short guys. I'm not saying that Fury hasn't; he's undefeated, but I just think Lewis, for me, in my personal opinion, was like one of the best heavyweights to do it. So it's difficult. It's difficult.
I think ultimately, and a lot of those wins that Lennox Lewis has, and you mentioned it, Tua, Tyson, Mike Tyson, even Holyfield, like these are all smaller guys.
Yeah.
There's something about when you're fighting somebody taller, you have to bring a different dynamic. And that is more the reason why I'm siding with Fury. However, there's no doubt upon Lennox Lewis's greatness. And ultimately it would be a fight I'd love to see. And like I'm a big fan of Lennox Lewis. My mum's got a picture with him. My mum loved him growing up, and I joked about on Father's Day that he was my old man because my mum got a picture of him and her 27 years ago. So
styles make fights, and like you said, the height thing is a big thing. Fury, the way how he uses his height and the way how he moves for a big man is unbelievable. I think that would have caused Lewis problems, but I don't know. I just think
if that right hand lands from Lewis though,
that's the thing.
It's 9-9. I mean, I
think with Emmanuel Stewart in his corner as well at the time, he would have really got into Lewis to attack Fury.
Yeah, it would be such a. I mean, it's a pick'em. It really is a pick'em. And don't get me wrong. Well, in a year's time, that could all change because if AJ knocks out Fury all of a sudden, then I'm going. Actually, Lennox Lewis would have been my pick. But if you're asking me at this current time, after seeing Tyson Fury's latest performance, for me, it would have to be Lennox Lewis, just based on the facts of style-wise, awkwardness. We haven't seen Lennox Lewis deal with anyone like Tyson Fury. Ultimately, at the same time, you could say that we haven't seen Tyson deal with anyone like Lennox Lewis. But it's all theoretical. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. There's no real right or wrong answer there.
Real one. There's AJ v Fury.
Go ahead. What are you saying for that one?
That was a question that popped up. Who asked that question?
The next question now, it wasn't about AJ and Fury. It was more Dylan White. But let's talk about AJ and Fury, man. We'll talk about that. Like, hopefully that gets made for next year. There's obviously some obstacles that need to be addressed first. Obviously, AJ needs to dispose of Pulev, and Fury needs to defeat Wilder again. And it's looking like the WBC are saying that Fury is going to have to fight White as well. So providing these obstacles are overcome, then we could see AJ and Fury. Let's say that does happen. How do you see that fight going?
Yeah, the thing is, my heart wants AJ to win. My heart wants to say AJ. I'm just a massive advocate of everything that he represents. Like for where he articulates himself. And obviously we only see the media image of him, but like we've never really seen him act out of line. Obviously there was a controversy around the Black Lives Matters, which if anyone actually watched the interview, like the full length, there is no controversy. And so for me, it's a torn between who would I want to win. I'd want AJ to win. I have
who will win? Who do you think will win?
But who do I think will win? I think Tyson Fury is difficult to go against him just because of how difficult he is to fight. There's when I've ever sparred sort of real novices in a boxing gym, they've actually been some of my most difficult spars because they're so awkward. And you can't underestimate the awkwardness of people and like throwing you off your game. And don't get me wrong, they're at world title level, so you'd expect that AJ might have seen someone similar. I know they've sparred, and I know I've heard that AJ gave him an absolute horrible time. But his awkwardness in a fight with 10-ounce gloves, like I don't know. I can't see anyone beating him other than AJ. And the reason why I say other than AJ, because what AJ has shown is that he's willing to risk it all. And like he has this sweet boy demeanor on the outside that he's pretty, he's a handsome man. But he will put his neck out on the line for a win. We saw that with Vladimir Klitschko. Yep. He went like sixth round, I think he hurt Klitschko, or fifth round he hurt Klitschko. Went to take him out. Absolute savage finisher. Didn't take him out. Ended up getting hurt in the sixth round. But he sucked it up. Took a little bit of a beating up until the 11th, and even saying to Klitschko, "I'm going to take you, and I'm going to give you my all in that 11th round." Now, for those who have never been in the ring and don't understand how much that takes to know that you're going to let everything go in your 11th round, knowing that if you don't take that person out, you're probably going to get knocked out, but you're still going to do it anyway. Now that takes balls.
We saw that with Yard. Sorry to interrupt. We saw that with Yard and Kovalev.
Yeah, I agree. And that takes that, like, you have to take your hat off to anyone that has the courage, and that's why I don't think Yard didn't get any stick. Well, not from what I saw for losing, and I don't think he should have anyway. For one, he took the fight way too early in his career. He knew he had to, and I think it was probably the right move in a sense, because I think it's made him even more well recognised. But when he got the chance, he said, "I'm going to try my best to take it, and if I fail, I'll fail big. But I'm going to try and shoot my shot at greatness." Because a lot of people, they might have like dabbled their way through and just been happy to see what happens. But you shoot your shot at greatness, and if you take it, you're great. If you don't, like, there's no shame in that, because and people will see that you've shot your shot. And AJ does it time and time again, and that's why I think if there is any person to beat Tyson Fury on the planet, it is AJ, because when he got Ruiz hurt in the third round in the first fight, what did he try to do? Try taking him out. He put himself on the line for everybody watching. That takes guts. And then in the second fight, he said, "Well, I'm just going to reinvent myself. Whatever happens, whatever somebody throws at me, I'm going to find a way." And like, that can't be underestimated. That can't be. And he's got the skill to back it up. He'll close the distance. He's, for a tall fighter, like we saw it with Takam, he's happy to close the distance and fight on the inside. Good inside fighter for his size. Phenomenal finisher. He doesn't really necessarily knock people out with one punch, but if he gets you hurt, he'll finish you. And ultimately, I think he'll shoot a shot. He'll shoot a shot at greatness, and we'll find out a lot about both men. But if I had to put my house on the line, I'd pick Fury. But I'd also be betting. I'd be picking Fury, but betting on AJ.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have to go with Fury. Sorry, and I do believe that AJ has a chance, because I mean, on my boxing group and elsewhere, I'll see people say that they don't think AJ has a chance, especially after how Fury defeated Wilder. And I'm like, it doesn't really work like that. Styles make fights, and I definitely believe AJ has a chance, but ultimately, I just feel that the stamina issue might rear its head with Anthony Joshua. I think he might really go for it. And if Fury's still there, like after 6-7, taunting him, laughing at him, getting in his head, I could see Joshua kind of slowing down. And then I think that's kind of where it plays into Fury's hands a bit. Let alone the fact that Fury is a master at distance, and it's going to be an awkward fight for Joshua anyway. I'm leaning towards Fury for sure, but I'm definitely one of those that think that Joshua has a chance in it. Yeah. And he's got the best chance out of everyone out there to defeat Fury, in my opinion. Yeah,
no doubt. And another reason why I say that as well is, another reason why I say I think Fury might frustrate him is because we look what he did against Klitschko. Fury don't care about stinking the house out.
Yeah.
Like, why should he? Like, everyone bets against. Especially in the early days, everyone was betting against him.
Yeah.
If he shows he can box the brains off AJ, he will. And what I hope AJ doesn't do is gets in an ego match where he thinks he can outbox Fury. Because Anthony Joshua, he's the second best heavyweight boxer on the planet. Because he can box great, AJ. But for this fight, he needs to do something else. He can't box. He's got to. We can't pure box. He's got to use his boxing ability to get into range, fire off his shots, and ultimately break Fury down enough to finish him.
What about Usyk? What about him?
Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot about Usyk.
Yeah, it just crossed my mind. What about Usyk in terms of boxing ability? I mean, he's a lot smaller, but I mean, how would he hold up?
Yeah, boxing ability, actually, them three are up there. In terms of skills, him and Fury are the two most skillful. Just haven't seen enough of Usyk at heavyweight to sort of really make a justified opinion. But at cruiserweight, phenomenal. Cruiserweight champions always have to go through a transitioning stage before they necessarily confirmed as great heavyweights, and only one person has really successfully solidified themselves as a great heavyweight from cruiserweight. That's Evander Holyfield, and he had to massively reinvent himself. He was a lot more on his toes at cruiserweight. He was still on his toes as a heavyweight, but he knew, and I watched a documentary on this, he knew he had to bulk up and become a machine at heavyweight. And you see him against Riddick Bowe, he would take shots, and he would ultimately try to box a lot more on the inside. But we haven't seen that transition with Usyk yet.
Yeah.
We don't know what it's going to be
We
like.
don't know yet, yeah. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets on for sure.
Yeah.
Now we got two more questions here. One of them is a three-part question, and another one's about Dillian Whyte. So we'll go on to the Dillian Whyte one. And this person has said, should Dillian Whyte have fought Pulev when he had the chance? Now we know that fight was in the making. I believe that Dillian Whyte and Pulev were supposed to fight for, it might have been an eliminator for the IBF, but Dillian Whyte's been really pursuing the WBC route. But for whatever reason, that fight didn't happen. I think it was because Bulgaria won the bids for that fight, and Dillian Whyte didn't want to travel there. So this question is: should Dillian Whyte have fought Kubrat Pulev, or do you think it didn't really make a difference?
Should have, would have, didn't. Like AJ could have fought. Dillian Whyte could have fought AJ as a replacement for the Jarrell Miller.
Yeah.
Or on that Jarrell Miller date, and he could have fought for a world title. It's sort of about timing. I think what we've got to look at in Dillian Whyte's case is he's been mandatory for like 800. I can't remember how many days, but
yeah,
like a load of days. And ultimately, if we're talking about, I'm wondering everyone on the planet wants to see AJ v Fury, and ultimately, I would want to see it over Dillian Whyte v Fury. But I'm team maximum violence. I love Dillian Whyte, but if you're talking to me about what do I want to see, yeah, AJ v Fury, like for all the belts, all the marbles, that's history there. That's a chance for both me and you and all of the viewers to say we was a part of history that's never happened before. All 4/5/6 belts, if we include Lineal, Ring Magazine, IBO, like everything's on the line here. That's never been done before. We all want to see it, but Dillian Whyte, in terms of fighting Pulev, should have, would have, didn't. Like he's gone his way about his career. He's in prime position for the WBC. It's just shit that he's just not got his shot. COVID happened. He probably Fury would have fought. Fury might have even fought AJ at the back part of this year. I think he would have said after the Wilder rematch, and then would have fought Dillian Whyte in February next year as planned or mandated by. But yeah, it's difficult being a heavyweight because you can't go up or down. Well, you can go down if you really want to, but no one does that.
No one really does that, yeah.
But whereas if you're in a lighter division, like you just go up a division and fight the next best fighter, or it's difficult in heavyweight division. Difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just my thoughts on that question. Shout out to the person that asked it. I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. I mean, Dillian Whyte has fought that sort of level of competition anyway. He's going to fight with Povetkin next. Pulev does have a high profile in Bulgaria, but I think outside of that, it's not particularly high. Povetkin, he's looking to fight him next. Oscar Rivas was a good fight. And I think Dillian Whyte, he's kind of set on his journey. He's set where he wants to go. And I don't think that someone like Pulev would derail him. Him fighting in an IBF eliminator with him would derail him from where he wants right now. He's got his eyes set on the WBC. He didn't even let the AJ train derail that. So I guess you have to respect it to a certain point. That this is the route he wants to go down, and this is who he wants to fight. Yeah.
He's a savage. He's a savage. It's just unfortunate. It's literally just. It is what it is. He's just got to be patient and touch wood. Like he gets that shot, he might even get it at a vacant title, but take it because then you become the A side. But he's fought back to back tough guys. Even Povetkin, who's old now, like still a tough fight. He's a savage, man. He'll fight anybody.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's move on to the last question anyway, man. We're at 48 minutes so far. So thank you to everybody that's stuck in the chat, man. Thank you for the comments as well. And this is a good question, and it's from Shirtless Jesus. Funny name, but yeah, I mean, he follows me on Twitter, and he always posts some good questions and stuff. So it's like a 3-part question, so I'll break it down. The first is, any advice for an aspiring boxer? What would be the fight you'd love to have at middleweight? And what are your next moves and steps going forward? So let's go to the first one, which is, any advice for an aspiring boxer?
Thoughts become things. Simple as that. Just by law of the universe, if you think it enough and you do it enough, you're going to make some way in achieving it. And look, that's not to say not everybody can become a world champion. Not everybody can come a Midlands champion. Not everyone can have an undefeated career, but I think ultimately you have to have some sort of stubbornness about you to say, if I believe this enough, and if I put enough time and energy into it, the laws of the universe would say, and it's quite basic. If both me and you say we want to be a boxer, or we want to do something, and I only put 5 hours in a week, and you put 500 hours in a week, well, you have more of a chance of making it than me. It's just the law of the universe. So I'd say thoughts become things. It all starts with just thinking you can do it and believing you can do it. Technical skills can be learned. Like, I don't know if all your viewers know, but I don't expect them to know, but I'm a massive Chelsea fan. Frank Lampard was my inspiration growing up, and Frank Lampard was never the most talented footballer. Everyone just always said to him he was just a relentless trainer. He just believed if he turned up at the start of every session early, left at the end, trained relentlessly, and believed he can become a footballer, he would. And he became one of the greatest Chelsea player in history and one of the best England players of the last generation. And so that would ultimately be my number one advice. Like, skills can be learned. Technique can be learned, but just believing you can do it.
Yeah. The next part of the question was, what fight would you love to have at middleweight? So I'm guessing that's a current, let's just say middleweight. The middleweight fight is now and past. I'm going to add to that. So who would have been your dream fight at middleweight, so to speak?
Dream fight. Well, there's two parts to your two-part question, because I am going to be campaigning at light middleweight. Because for those who don't know how it works, is currently right now I weigh in at middleweight for same day fights. So same day weigh-ins. So I weigh in, 4 hours later I fight. However, for day before weigh-ins, like you see the likes of Canelo, like lose a stone, then go back up a stone. That's what allows him to fight at a lower weight division. So I'll be campaigning at light middleweight, and I do see myself at middleweight. But like, I'll answer the middleweight question because I love the middleweight division. Yeah. I'd love to fight Canelo. I think there's controversy around him, like with the Canelo meat and eating like that contaminated meat. But I think in terms of technical skills, he's the best boxer of this era post Mayweather. Of all time, I'm a massive James Toney fan. I would have loved to. I mean, I take a lot of inspiration from James Toney and how he does certain things. And even though Roy Jones Jr. was ultimately one of the greatest of, if not the greatest of all time in the middleweight, super middleweight division. Those two would be the two I would like to fight.
Canelo, James Toney.
Canelo and James Toney.
Good shout. And
so much smack. James Toney would have talked so much smack. It would have been funny.
Yeah. James Toney, man, I just loved his interviews, man. You knew every time he had a post-fight interview or just an interview in general, you were gonna get some sort of quote or feedback from there that you just like take and run with, man. He was that good.
About my mama all day. I'd have got so offended. I'd have to get a psychologist.
Yeah, James Toney was a legend, man. Legend. Went on for too long, like a lot of fighters do, unfortunately, but he was an absolute legend, man, for sure. Yeah. Last part of the question here and last part of the stream, concerned about the time. What are your next moves and steps going forward then in your career? You touched on it a little bit, but for those that might have jumped on a bit later and didn't hear, what are your next moves and steps right now?
Ultimately, I mean, I said to my coach the other day, I said, in 2 years' time, I want my shot at the British title. So I've got to put myself in position. Now, that probably means that I'll be fighting for it a lot. Touch wood, and God willing, I do fight for it. I'd be fighting for it at a very sort of early stage in my boxing career. I'd be probably about 28, 29 years old, but in terms of actual bouts, probably wouldn't have had that many. But when we're talking about shooting our shot for greatness, if you really believe in yourself, you believe in your work ethic, your training, and your skills. I mean, I think Scott Fitzgerald is the light middleweight champion. Like, I don't expect him to be the light middleweight champion, British champion in 2 years, but whoever's there, That's who I want, the English title. We're very fortunate in Luton right now. We've got 2 English champions. Shout out to Linus and K Prosper.
Okay.
So I want to be the third. There might even be one before that. I mean, we've got Alex Bishop, we've got Ali Malik, 2 very talented boxers as well, that are on the scene. They might even get an English title, but get the English title first, whether that be light middle or middleweight. Then go on to the British, but I want that in 2 years' time. And that's when it goes back to the first part of the question. If thoughts become things, you have to believe it first. You have to see it before anyone else can see it, and you put a timeline to that, so you become accountable for it, and then you just go for it. So everyone now says going to know that Josh Gooden wants to fight for the British title in 2 years. If it comes 2 years' time, the only one that's going to be held accountable is me. But that's why I do believe thoughts become things, because I have to say it and I have to believe it.
Yeah, I rate that, man. That's so true. That's so true, bro. But listen, coming towards the end of the stream now.
Yeah.
I've managed to get you here for an hour and talk. So that's I thank you for that, man.
You here for an hour. You're just as busy as anybody. You got about 5 jobs going. You run the boxing Lowdown. The channel's just getting bigger and bigger. I remember when it first started, probably around 2 years ago, and you just said to me, "Oh, Josh, I'm just thinking about starting up a channel." I was an amateur at the time. Yeah. Can we get you in for an interview? I didn't even know what an interview was. But it's it. No, massive respect to you, bro. And yeah, you know, I love the channel.
Yeah, for sure, man. Been supporting it from the beginning, so I appreciate that, bro. And yeah, we'll just keep pushing, man. Keep pushing. But thank you for your time, man. Yeah.
What's the Arsenal score going to be? Sheffield United. Sheffield United.
Oh yeah, Sheffield United. You know what? I'm gonna say 2-1 to us. Yeah. Say 2-1 to us. Yeah, a tight one, but don't hold me to that, because you know what our team's like already. So yeah.
Any signings this summer?
I mean, well, we signed 2 players, didn't we? We signed Mari and Suarez, didn't we, to long-term deals. So I guess they're gonna count those as signings. And then I honestly don't know. We've got Partey. We're looking at him, but yeah, I've given up hope. I'm just like, whatever happens at the moment. We're a long way from challenging, bro. I think you know that as well. I think that's why you put it in there in this chat.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man.
But
respect, right, man. I appreciate you coming on, bro. Just before you go, just
enjoy the Arsenal game.
Just plug your socials quickly before you go, bro.
Yeah, so follow me at Josh Gooden on Facebook, or Josh TD Gooden. That's Josh TD Gooden on Instagram. Stands for the diamond. I also want to shout out to my sponsors. So Smith's Dry Lining, they always show out for me. The Crep Cleaner, always there. CFP Plastering or CPF Plastering. Always shown out as well, and obviously my team Muscle Food, always got my back. So just a shout out to those guys.
Yeah, respect, man. Respect. Well, we'll catch up soon, bro, and enjoy the rest of your day, brother.
Big up the boxing Lowdown.
Respect,
love, bro.
Man. Well, that's it, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, really appreciate you all for staying onto the live, man. And I'll be getting more people on. You know, if you guys want to make any recommendations as well, let me know. But thank you all for tuning in anyway. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.